Most people think the brain fears bad news, failure, loss, pain. But psychologists keep finding something stranger. The brain actually reacts worse to not knowing than to knowing something is wrong. And later, I'll explain why uncertainty doesn't just create anxiety. It quietly turns inward and becomes self-blame. Your brain has one thing it cannot tolerate: an open ending. Not danger, not failure, not even pain. Uncertainty. Give your brain an unanswered question and it will rush to fill it, not with truth, but with control. You send a message, no reply. Your brain doesn't say, "They're busy." It says, "Something is wrong." You wait for test results, feedback, a decision. Your brain doesn't stay neutral. It writes a script, and it usually picks the darkest one. That's the first way uncertainty shows up. This isn't pessimism. It's a psychological reflex called closure seeking. You feel this most in quiet moments, lying in bed, replaying conversations that already ended, refreshing your email even though you know nothing new has arrived, reading tone into silence, feeling tension in your chest while nothing is actually happening. Your body reacts before your logic catches up. Your heart rate rises, your muscles tighten, all because your brain hates not knowing what comes next. The human brain evolved to survive environments where not knowing was dangerous. If you didn't know where the threat was, your mind assumed it was nearby. If you didn't know someone's intentions, your brain prepared for betrayal. If you didn't know what came next, hesitation could get you killed. So your brain learned a shortcut. Any explanation is better than no explanation, even a bad one. But that's only the surface. That shortcut kept humans alive, but it didn't evolve for modern life. Your brain is a prediction engine. Its job is to guess what's about to happen and prepare you for it. When information is missing, the prediction system doesn't shut down. It speeds up. Stress hormones stay elevated. Your nervous system stays on standby. Clear bad news shuts the system off faster than uncertainty ever could. That's why bad news often feels strangely relieving. Once you know the worst, the waiting stops. The alarm quiets down. Uncertainty keeps the alarm screaming. And the longer this goes on, the more your brain starts changing how you behave, even when nothing is actually wrong. Modern life is full of unfinished loops, unread messages, delayed responses, vague feedback, ambiguous relationships, open-ended futures. Your brain treats these like unresolved threats. It doesn't ask, "What's most likely?" It asks, "What's safest to prepare for?" And preparation, in your brain's logic, means imagining the worst. Living in this state for too long doesn't just make you anxious, it exhausts you. It drains focus. It makes simple decisions feel heavy. It turns neutral situations into emotional minefields. When uncertainty becomes constant, your brain starts changing how it operates. You become more cautious, not because danger is present, but because it might be. You hesitate longer. You second-guess choices that used to feel simple. You delay action, waiting for clarity that never fully arrives. Over time, this creates a quiet sense of being stuck, not frozen by fear, but worn down by waiting. You may notice yourself scanning for signals everywhere. Tone in a message, a look on someone's face, a pause in conversation. Your brain starts treating neutral information like clues in a mystery that must be solved. This hypervigilance isn't intuition. It's your nervous system trying to end uncertainty by any means necessary. And the longer this goes on, the more your brain associates waiting with danger. Silence starts to feel personal. Delays feel intentional. Neutral outcomes feel like warnings. You're not overthinking. You're over-adapting. Your brain is preparing you for a threat that never quite arrives, but never fully leaves either. This is why uncertainty is so draining. It doesn't spike stress and release it. It keeps stress low-grade and constant. There's no resolution point, no clear ending, just a loop that keeps running in the background, quietly pulling energy from everything else. Focus suffers, patience thins, emotional resilience drops. Here's where it turns inward. When information is missing, your brain uses you as the explanation. Here's where uncertainty turns inward. They didn't respond? You must have done something wrong. You didn't get clarity? You must be failing. You don't know what comes next? You must be falling behind. If uncertainty hits you harder than it seems to hit other people, this isn't weakness. It means your brain is highly sensitive to open loops. It's your brain trying to regain certainty by assigning blame. Certainty feels safer than ambiguity, even if the certainty hurts. That's why reassurance helps temporarily, but never lasts. Your brain isn't looking for comfort. It's looking for closure. And when it can't get real closure, it manufactures emotional closure through fear. Fear feels decisive. Fear feels like action. Fear feels like control. So how do you stop it? Not by forcing positive thinking. That actually makes it worse. You interrupt the loop by refusing to finish the story. When your brain jumps to a conclusion, don't argue with it. Just pause it. Instead of asking, what if this means something bad? Ask, what information do I actually have right now? Not what you feel, not what you fear, what you know. Most of the time, the answer is very little. And that's the point. You train your brain by letting the ending stay unfinished. Uncertainty feels uncomfortable, but it isn't dangerous. The more often you allow a question to stay open without filling it, the faster your nervous system learns that nothing bad happens when you don't know. Your brain stops panicking, not because it got answers, but because it learned it doesn't need them immediately. And one last thing most people miss. Your brain is worst at this when you're tired. Lack of sleep, stress, constant stimulation, all of it reduces your ability to tolerate uncertainty. A rested brain can wait. An exhausted brain demands answers now. So if everything feels urgent, catastrophic, impersonal lately, you're not broken. You're overloaded. Psychologists sometimes describe people like this as having a low tolerance for unresolved information. Not because they're fragile, but because their brain is wired to seek clarity fast. Your mind is doing what it's always done, closing loops to keep you safe. But you don't live in a world where every unknown is a threat anymore. You're allowed to leave questions unanswered. You're allowed to sit in the pause. You're allowed to let silence mean nothing at all. And if this helped you understand your brain a little better, subscribe and like. Because the more you understand how your mind works, the less power it has to scare you.